Hands are often considered one of the most difficult things to draw. But once you know how to approach them, they can become surprisingly fun. So toss aside your hesitation, pull your character's hands out of their pockets, and enjoy using hand gestures to amplify their emotions, enhance your storytelling, and breathe life into your illustrations and comics. In this tutorial, I'll share how I learned to draw hands for comics, from observing the proportions and movement of your own hand, to a simple but powerful toast method to build hands in motion and perspective easily. We'll also explore how the flow of the gesture and action bring life to a drawing. Finally, I'll share tips on rendering, coloring, and using 3D models effectively. These tricks work across all styles and character types. Whether you're a beginner or just want to improve expressiveness, I'm sure you'll start having fun with hands, and you might even get frustrated when a scene doesn't let you show off your character's gestures. And best of all, forget anatomy books or memorizing Latin terms, all you need is your own hand and knowledge from kindergarten. Basic proportions: the best reference is your own hand. Observing your own hand reveals several helpful patterns. The width of the palm is roughly equal to its height and also matches the length of the middle finger. The thumb is slightly longer than the palm and connects to it at the base up to its first joint. Fingers are thickest at the first joint. When viewed from the front or back, indicating these thickest parts makes the hand look natural. On the back of the hand, knuckles mark the base of finger movement. Fingers don't visually separate from the palm until almost halfway between the knuckle and the first joint, which is why they appear longer from the back. The distance from knuckle to first joint is almost equal to the combined length of the other two segments. Finger joints and tips form natural arches, which will help you with getting the fingers' proportions right and arranging them in a dynamic motion. We'll explore this more later on. There are always gaps between fingers, even when they're close together. A hand is usually the same height as a face. That's why a facepalm fits so well. Children's hands, however, are smaller than their faces, which varies with age and also stylization. The toast method: cooking up a hand with simple shapes. What we will need: 1 toast, 1 mini choco cornet, 14 jelly beans of various sizes. These are the secret ingredients for the magic of simplifying hand shapes. Palm. Start with the toast shape. Draw a square with a curved top, peaking at the middle finger. For side views, add volume to create a 3D base. Divide the curved top into 4 sections to attach the fingers, remembering to leave gaps between them. This toast shape can bend and twist depending on the gesture. It also helps you visualize hands in perspective more easily. Thumb. The base of the thumb can be represented as a cone. Its root connects at the lower corner of the palm and pivots in many directions. It can lie in the same plane or perpendicular to the palm. It shares the palm pad, and don't forget the webbing that links it to the palm. Fingers. Curved guides will help you determine the length of fingers and placement of the fingertips and joints. In fists or grasping poses, the arrangement of the joints along a curve brings natural tension and realism. When fingers overlap, visualize the fingers first together as a mitten, then divide the form into 4 parts for each finger. Instead of using cylinders, think of each segment as a slightly squashed, curved jelly bean, especially the final segment with the nail. When drawing in perspective, stack these bean shapes to guide the overall shape of the fingers. Fingernails usually take up half of the final segment. You can skip them in stylized work but draw them when they support perspective or clarity. Drawing tips. If you're planning to shade your hand illustration, avoid drawing too many joint details in your line art. Lines drawn across finger joints can look like wrinkles and may age the hand unintentionally. Instead, indicate joints through shading to keep the hand smooth and young. You don't need to outline each finger or nail perfectly. Use line thickness and gaps to express light and form instead. Types of hands. With these basic shapes, you can draw any type of hand in any style. Masculine hands are blockier and more angular with visible joints and tendons. Emphasize knuckles and use sharper line work. Feminine hands tend to be more slender and elongated. Use smoother curves, draw in thin and long nails but minimize other details. Feminine gestures often involve the pinky and group the middle and ring fingers. The last 2 segments of fingers may bend backward slightly for a graceful, mannered feel. Children's hands are smaller and rounder, with shorter fingers and plumper palms. Avoid drawing tendons and joints. What they lack in size and detail, they make up with energy. use lively but gentle gestures. Elderly hands. Drawing the fingers thinner and emphasizing joints, tendons and wrinkles can make any hand look older, sick or worn out. Keep in mind that the more details you add, the older a hand will appear. Various hands. A hand can reflect a character's personality. Feel free to experiment with proportions and details. All hands are unique, just compare your own hands with your friends. For example, my male friend has feminine hands, while I'm female with almost generic masculine hands, which is actually handy for reference when drawing this guy's hands. Storytelling with expressive hands. Stylized dynamic hands. To make hands more visually engaging, emphasize the important shapes and simplify the less essential ones. Try using trapezoid forms for finger parts, especially the last segments. This gives the hand a very dynamic, cartoonish vibe. The secrets of natural movement. Fingers are rarely parallel. Even when held together, they subtly angle toward a common point, led by the middle finger. When the hand opens, fingers fan out with their axes aimed roughly at the wrist, and when the hand closes, that same directional flow remains. The gaps between fingers are uneven, the index finger and pinky naturally spread out more than the middle and ring fingers. Middle and ring finger often work together. This makes it easier to group them as a unit in certain poses. The pinky often strays from the pack, which can add extra flair to a gesture. Poses. You don't have to become a cartoon character, but observe how your own hand reacts to emotion. Emphasize on real responses to build various degrees of expressive poses, from slightly tensed up hands reflecting nervousness, to sharp and even negative angles to emphasize confusion, to total resignation in limp hands with one negative angle showing the last gasp. Negative angles are especially effective for drama and tension. Fingers can bend backward at all joints. Exaggerate this movement to show grasping, shock, magical signs, or dramatic gestures. Flow and action. When sketching hands, look for the overall flow of movement. It might take practice, but recognizing these lines will help you capture motion and emotion with just a few strokes. Usually, the main lines of action flow from the back of the hand to the pinky or index, or follow the thumb, and other flow lines trace the knuckles and fingertips. We'll continue exploring this in the next section. Practical examples. In this part, we'll learn how to approach drawing hands in several different poses. Quick tip: draw on vector layers. They're easy to edit with correction tools, and your lines won't lose quality when resized or adjusted. Handwriting. Since you can't observe your own hand in this pose, it can feel tricky, but it's quite easy to draw when you know how to approach it. First, draw the pencil. I suck at drawing technical stuff, so I rely on 3D models. The thumb and index finger grip the pencil near the tip, while its top rests against the base of the index finger. The other fingers curl under the palm for support. Twist the toast palm shape slightly to reflect the curled posture, and sketch in the finger bases. The thumb should point toward the pen tip. Draw the lines representing the backside of the fingers. The inner lines can easily be inferred from them. Sketch parts even if they'll be hidden. It helps construct the hand more accurately. Vary each finger's bend to avoid stiffness, and tweak the palm pads to show it resting on the surface. Hand holding something. Remember to express the force. If a light stick is grabbed just for the sake of lifting it, the palm and fingers can be almost perpendicular to it. But if a character is grabbing an axe to fight a swarm of evil logs, they need to grip it properly and dramatically. Here, the palm wraps at an angle, and each finger bends differently, while their joints still form natural arches. This shows tension and a firm grasp. Hand carrying weight. If a character refuses to go down no matter what, express that in their hand. The palm lies flat to support the weight. You could draw the fingers spread flat too, but in this case, the exaggerated sharp bending of the fingers is used to show the character's struggle. Holding hands. Hands interacting can seem like a nightmare at first, but if you build each one with the basic shapes, the key is to focus where they touch, just like in the writing pose. If you feel lost in the lines, use change layer color in the layer palette to assign different colors to each hand to separate overlapping forms. When choosing poses, consider the story. Children often grab just a few fingers of an adult's hand, but in this frame the little girl's hand grasps all she can hold to show she won't let go, no matter what. Coloring tips. Use any coloring technique you like. I'm using my webtoon shading method I described in my tutorial coloring and shading tricks. For an oil painting technique, check out my tutorial on painting skin. Hand color zones. Like faces, hands have color zones: golden on the back, reddish at joints and fingertips, and bluish near the wrist and thumb base. Use a soft brush in overlay mode to apply these subtly. Shading. Avoid overly glossy skin, it makes hands look plastic. For a satin effect, keep the backs of the hand and fingers darker, and lighten only the areas that catch direct light. Deepen shadows where light shifts abruptly, especially at joints following their structure. For added drama, use backlighting with a sharp rim light, and subtle reflected light from below. Extra effects. Add color to the line art to make not only the hands look more real. Use a soft brush on a glow dodge mode with red or orange to add subsurface scattering. A warm glow along bright edges or in thinner areas like between fingers. This often overlooked detail makes hands feel more alive and natural. 3D figures and poses. Clip Studio Paint includes customizable 3D figures, along with countless full body and hand poses available for download from the Assets library. You can apply these to the models for inspiration or as reference. Keep in mind that not all poses reflect real hand flexibility, so it's important to double-check with your own hand and make adjustments if needed. I've created free downloadable hand guides on a 3D figure for easier visual reference. 3D hands to 2D without tracing or shading. If you're short on time or want to ensure consistency, you can use the 3D figure to quickly generate hand illustrations. You can color the model with lights by following this 3D to 2D tutorial. With version 4 and up, you can paint directly onto 3D figures. Just paint your hand design onto the model, adjust the pose and lighting, and you'll have ready-to-use hands for your project. The hands model shown in the mock-up is also free for download from my Assets, just like the hand pose guides. Conclusion. Hands are among the most expressive storytelling tools in visual art. Losing the fear of drawing them opens up new ways to add emotion, rhythm, and movement to your characters. Every hand you draw becomes an opportunity to tell a story, sometimes louder than a face ever could. So go ahead, have fun, experiment, and let your characters speak with their hands.